Welcome back to the Borders now and Scotland's Brick Museum. It's home to more than 4,000 bricks, each one with a story to tell. Here's Bruce Mackenzie.
They're all around us. You're probably inches from one right now. But it's likely you've never given the bricks in your daily life a second thought. Neither did Mark. But then, well, his life changed entirely.
Back end of 2010, I was simply looking for a brick to hold the shed door open. I knew I had some in the garage, went looking for them. There was 3 there, I turned them over, and for the first time I'd really noticed that there was different names on them. So I looked up one of the names online, and luckily there was a bit of history about that particular brick, because there's not a lot online about a lot of other bricks. And basically I was hooked. People probably think it's a weird thing to do. I prefer to think it's a niche way of recording Scottish history, industrial history.
What do family and friends make of this obsession, passion?
Oh, I mean, they're all behind me. Initially, they were thinking, "Oh, what's he up to now? What's he doing?" But they can see how passionate I am about it and how interested I am in it. And so yeah, no, they're all for it. They've not come out in too many brick hunts with me, I have to say. My wife came out in a couple. We got soaked along the shoreline in Dundee when she was there, and that kind of put her off, I think.
Mark soon realised he'd stumbled onto an under-recorded part of Scottish industrial history.
I contacted the National Museum of Scotland, and they reckon there was about 350 bricks with different marks on them out there, because that's what they had in their collection. But the first time I went out looking for bricks, I came back with at least a dozen that they didn't have, so I realised their list wasn't too comprehensive.
He's gone on to acquire thousands, mostly from the heyday of brickmaking, which played a huge role in the Industrial Revolution. At one time, Scotland housed hundreds of brickworks spread across the length and breadth of the country. But these days, there's only one single factory in the Central Belt producing clay bricks.
The Glen Boyd Company's actually an interesting one. Huge company in its day, and between about 1895 and 1900, it was the biggest fireclay works in the world. In this area here, these are predominantly Glasgow bricks.
Mark's huge collection of bricks is mostly all manufactured here, though some have come back to him from the other side of the world. He says every one has a story to tell, and that they can prove an important research tool, from family historians to industrial students.
Well, Mark, from over 4,000 bricks in your collection, you've got a few of your favourites here. Talk us through what's here, and particularly some of the earliest ones.
Well, these all have a story to tell. Brickmaking in Scotland started with the Romans, 2nd century. So they're really thick tiles, but they're basically made in brickworks, if we want to call it that, were found at the Roman site at Newstead at Melrose. So these are the first bricks made in Scotland. But commercial brickworks and brick manufacturing really took off in the sort of 1800s. So this is a type of brick that would be made then. However, as you can see, something has gone very wrong with that one. So what's happened with that is the brick's been manufactured in the mould, and they're to lay out thereafter on the ground to air dry before they go in the kiln to fire, because there's so much moisture in the clay. And if the brick is too wet when it goes into the kiln, it basically explodes from within. So basically the water in here has come out as steam and ruptured through the brick. But just on that, when I was saying when the bricks are all lying out, air drying, you have an opportunity for animals to walk over the tops of them. So this, I believe, not that I'm an expert, but that's a dog print and a cat print as well. One chasing the other. Mouse up here maybe. Who knows? Other bricks of importance or a story. This one, it's stamped Wilson & Son Barlinnie. Now the fireclay works at the time was right next to Barlinnie Prison, which was smaller scale in that day. And a lot of the bricks from the brickworks were used to build the prison. So this one is from the condemned cell, just formed part of the door frame. So it's still the whitewash there. So the 10 men that went to the gallows would all have brushed past that particular brick. So again, a brick with a story.
Wow. So perhaps the most gruesome story in your collection.
It's certainly up there, yes, yeah. Very interesting brick.
Now I notice here that not all bricks are equal, because this is a pretty interesting looking one.
We assume a brick's a cuboid shape, but bricks come in all shapes and sizes. I call this a Star Wars brick. It looks like a TIE fighter, but it should be that way up. So it's called a hanger brick, and they interlock with a sort of tongue and groove sort of system, and these would be on rails as well, and they would be used to form the roof of a kiln or a furnace, something like that.
And some of the bricks did make it abroad. You've had a few brought back from foreign shores as well?
This called a brick, made in Scotland, with a lovely thumbprint in the top corner there, with some brick moulders left. Was recovered from a lime kiln in Argentina and kindly donated and sent back to me. So it's seen a bit of travel, and equally a Bonnyrigg brick. Now, the Bonnyrigg Fireclay Works just outside Edinburgh, we've never found a Bonnyrigg brick. I've never found one. This one was found in an old army barracks in St. Petersburg in Russia. And just on the sort of Russian idea, that one went to Scotland from Russia, and this one came from Russia to Scotland. And it was found in the tidal muds at Grangemouth, so it's obviously come across probably as ballast on a ship. And then several of them have ended up in the muds.
And along at the end here, Mark, you've got what you told me is your favourite brick.
Yep, I have favourite bricks for many reasons, but yep, this is a cracker. A fourth brick made at Roughcastle at Bonnybridge. It's a fire brick, but this one was found on the wreck of the SS Politician, which went down off Eriskay, famously known for Whiskey Galore film, etc. It's still got the barnacles, or the sort of sea sediment, if you want to call it that, on the bottom there. So yeah, that's a great bit of history. It's a story within a story, that one. Lovely brick.
And a real bit of Scottish history.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Whether it's finding more bricks or tracking down their history to list on his website, Mark plans to keep growing his collection and hopes it will one day have a permanent public home.
Do you think we're all guilty of just walking past them then in our daily lives and not noticing?
We are. I mean, I was up until 2010, but I notice every single brick now. They're ubiquitous, they were everywhere, are everywhere. But very few folk give them a second thought as to how important they were, particularly during 1850 to 1950 and the Industrial Revolution. Ultimately, myself and another big collector up in East Lothian, we want to combine our collections and have them exhibited somewhere, because every brick has a story to tell, and the whole industry is one huge story that has to be told.
And that's it from this edition of Border Life. Join us again next time.